Righto, welcome back to another one. This is just going to be a quick little video explaining what happened since our last part one video where we bogged the Prado pretty bad and had to call up the insurance company and get towed out. This is just a quick little follow-up to what the outcome was with the car and where we go from here. So before I get straight into it, I just want to give a massive shout out and thank you to Bo Jordan, the service manager at Toyota, Thomas Brothers Toyota in Wagga Wagga, and the whole service team there, guys. Absolutely awesome. They kept me up to date every time something changed, and they had their finger on the pulse for the whole process. So awesome work to the guys over there. Also, again, I just want to say another thank you. I know I said it in the first one, but just another thank you to the three local fellas from Wagga Wagga that were out four-wheel driving that day that pulled us out of that hole. Would have been stuck there all night if it wasn't for you blokes. And the tow truck driver that came out and picked us up, legend, mate. On a Sunday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, for you to come out there, you know, that late in the day, thanks heaps, mate. Absolute champion. I thought the best way, I thought a couple of different ways of showing you guys the damage of the car, but I think the best way is just going to be, I'll run you through a lot of the damage that was done on the car. I'll overlay some footage in just to show you guys what I'm talking about, and then I'll quickly run through where we're going to go from here and what we're going to do now. So surprisingly, there wasn't actually any damage to the exterior, to the outside of the car. I thought, you know, bash plates would have been bent, or because we sort of fell into the hole at a bit of an angle, I thought, you know, something might have broken, or we might have had some panel damage, or something underneath the car might have let go. But surprisingly, there was actually nothing really wrong with it, which kind of blew me away. Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise for me. So anyway, that was one good thing when we got there, that I thought, oh yeah, this might save the car. There's no panel damage, there's no structural damage or anything like that. But anyway, moved on and went inside the car, and I'll just chuck in some here of the back seat. You can just see there is mud and water everywhere. You can see on the in the carpets there's actually mold growing up through the carpet, or up out of the carpet. And bear in mind, it was sitting at the dealership for 3 weeks after it flooded, and all the doors had been closed up, the windows were up. It was a really humid sort of environment to be sitting in for 3 weeks, and I don't think the guys really done anything other than assess the car and then leave it sit there. So I can't really be too shocked and surprised at that, but it is very confronting to see mold growing out of your carpets on a 2-year-old car that otherwise is in pretty good nick. You can see also here, this is when we first got to the dealership, the windows. So you can see there just on the driver's side, you can probably see it the best. The driver's window, you can see all the condensation just right up on the glass, really thick. That was the same for every window and the windscreens when we first got there. So as soon as we got there, we knew that it was going to be pretty bad. It was still going to be wet inside, and then we opened it up, and obviously you can see, you might not be able to see it there either, but there was still water dripping from the speakers, dripping out of the doors and the door seals. Yeah, so anywhere that water got in, it was staying there. It hadn't moved much at all. Even here, we'll just jump back to the back of the car real quick. Even at the back of the car, you can see there's condensation built up on that door, and even inside the door on the plastic, the the plastic where all the tools and that sit in the Prados. And again, leaking straight out of the door, which is weird because none of that was underwater. The whole back of the car was actually up out of the water. So yeah, not really sure what happened there. But obviously a lot of stuff in the back of the car too was we had to chuck most of it out. So yeah, I think Kim had $100 picnic rug or something that I was holding just there. Yeah, that had to go in the bin. That was completely stuffed. All mouldy. Oh, he's a COVID mask, of course. I think the only thing that we salvaged out of there was probably the dog food. But yeah, so she wasn't in great shape by any stretch. We'll just jump forward now. We'll just jump over to the engine bay. We'll quickly have a look. All I've done with the dual battery, all I could really do, I didn't have many tools on me at the time, but I just cut all my cabling that I'd run into the engine bay and just took the accessories out. So I took my DC charger, took my battery. If any of you guys hadn't already seen it, I'll leave a link up here to our new battery that we put in. It was just another flooded lead acid. I took the battery, the DC charger and the solar controller. Not a lot of money in that, but you know, it all adds up. Yeah, really appreciate Allianz letting me do that. Anyway guys, that's a bit of a look at just sort of how bad the damage was, and how much of that water actually made it inside. There was a lot of water that made it inside. To quickly run through the damages, the computer was fried. So there was a new computer that had to be ordered in for starters, which in those Prados apparently it's not cheap. All the wiring internal was damaged, and if it wasn't damaged, it would have probably failed down the track, is how Toyota described it. And I would have been having a lot of dramas. I would have a lot of dramas down the track with wiring and electrical issues. The airbox, this is something that Toyota just said that water had gotten into the airbox. Now, I haven't changed that airbox. That is the same stock standard airbox with a Toyota fitted snorkel on it that I bought the car with, brand new. So, I don't know how it's gotten in there. If anyone does know how those Toyota airboxes somehow, with snorkels from factory, still pull water in, leave a comment and let me know how, because it seems to be that these airboxes in the more modern Hiluxes, Prados and Fortuners, I think they are, all have this same problem where they will suck in dust, water and anything into the airbox and still somehow slip past the filter. Because you spend all this money on a snorkel and you still get water in your airbox. I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose. I think, just from memory, some of that water actually made it past the MAF sensor. So the motor never hydrolocked, but some water did make it past and into the block. No real motor damage apart from the airbox not really stopping any of the water, and a little bit of moisture getting through past the MAF sensor. The dual battery held up. The one thing that I put in there actually held up. The DC charger, the PWM solar regulator, the cheapo Kings one that I've had forever, and the flooded lead acid deep cycle battery that I only put in a few months ago, all held up fine. That was a positive. But everything internal, so oh God, where do I start? So like I said, the wiring, the computer, all the carpets, all the seats, apart from the very back seats, so the 6th and 7th seat, they were both fine. But all the other 5 seats, yeah, they'd all been wet and mouldy and everything like that. Oh, based pretty well every surface, all the upholstery, the dash, the infotainment system, that had all failed. So there were shorts in there somewhere. A fair few fuses had popped. So a lot of electrical issues in a nutshell. That's pretty much all it was. But to get to the bottom line, I guess, bottom line of all this whole mishap, the car was written off. Yeah, Definitely wasn't what I was hoping for. I was hoping that we'd get it back out on the road and we'd be good to go. But after talking to the guys at Toyota, they highly recommended that it be written off to the Allianz assessor. Yeah, Allianz guy that was assessing the car. Only because in the future there would be so many problems with the electrics that it would be forever coming back on insurance claims. I guess silver lining, I'm not going to have to worry about all those future problems. But yeah, obviously downside is I'll lose my car. And I've got to go and search for another one. So not the greatest thing, but at the same time, nobody got hurt. So going through insurance. This was probably the most painful part of the whole process, was dealing with the insurance company. And I don't want to badmouth them too much, because the Prado was actually on a lease, so I'd leased it through work, through like a salary sacrifice sort of program. So I don't know if it's different, because I just went with the insurance that they offer you at the time. I don't know if it's a different sort of insurance doing it through a novated lease, or if it's the same. But anyway, it was a really painful process. It took nearly 4 weeks to get an assessor to actually see the car and progress it to the settlement, whatever their settlement department is. Yeah, it definitely hasn't been an easy process to deal with. Again, I don't want to badmouth Allianz Insurance, because I don't think it's the same dealing with a lease as it is just dealing with your normal comprehensive insurance that you'd get if you just own the car outright. But yeah, anyway, it has all gone through, but there's just been a lot of waiting involved. There's not too much really more to say. I mean, the car's been written off, unfortunately, and I'm now organising for a new car. Not new, definitely not new. That's another thing. After all of this, I wouldn't go back and get a brand new car again. If anything, I may have broken even after having this lease. I've maybe just broken even. So yeah, in my opinion, I won't be getting another brand new car and doing this whole thing again. We have got another car picked out. It's not here yet, I don't have it, but it is being shipped up from Victoria. So hopefully when that comes, I'll be able to quickly have a bit of a look at it and then give you guys a rundown and what I sort of plan to do with it. And or maybe we'll just get to it one day when we're out exploring, or get to it one day when we're out on a trip. But if there's any other questions that you guys have, I know there was a fair few comments and questions about what the damage was and things like that. Had some DMs on Instagram about how bad the damage was and where's the adventures and what's going on with the car. So there we are, guys. The car's been written off. You won't see the Prado anymore. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. But I'm glad that I don't have to deal with the hassle of going back and trying to fix more damage every time something goes wrong with it. But yeah, so that's the story with the Prado, guys. Unfortunately, you won't be seeing it anymore, and that's the end of her. But if you guys have got any comments, questions, feedback, and if you know what that problem is with the Toyota airboxes, leave that down in the comments below, because I really, really want to know what it is. Anyway, guys, as always, if you like this video, if you like what we're doing over here, leave us a big like. Always helps us on YouTube more than you ever believe. And if you want to see more, guys, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon just next to it, and turn on your notifications on your phone so you don't miss a beat when it comes to any of our uploads. Hopefully we get out of this lockdown soon and we can all get back out there and start enjoying it again. Anyway, guys, get out and about. I'll see you in the next one. All right, ready? Ready?